Welcome to our seventh meeting. In the last lesson, we focused on the most recent problems of the European integration process. Today's lecture will be dedicated to an analysis of the rights that can be derived from European citizenship and the status of European citizens. Let's start. The advantages that come from European citizenship are many, but, as often happens, we forget about the guarantees that are recognized to us. Today, there is a strong set of safeguards that all European citizens have, regardless of their nationality. This is because, as stated in the Maastricht Treaty, to the citizens of each member state is recognized dual citizenship, the one of their own countries and the European one. The citizenship of the European Union determines the recognition of real rights reserved for the citizens of the European Union member states. In addition to the general principles set out in the European Charter of Fundamental Rights, the European Union also recognizes real rights connected to the European Union citizenship. Moreover, the European Union recognizes to its citizens other rights in addition to those connected to the four freedoms that are the free movement of goods, people, services, and capital. Furthermore, in case of natural disasters, European citizenship allows access to the Solidarity Fund. So, for example, in the event of an earthquake, the member states and the regions affected by the disaster can make a request to the European Union to receive support. In this regard, in May 2019, the European Commission proposed the payment of €293.5 million under the European Union Solidarity Fund for Austria, Italy, and Romania following the natural disasters occurred in 2018. Finally, in the last years, the European Parliament has started several initiatives in the telecommunications field. In 2017, data roaming has become free for European Union citizens traveling across Europe. Consequently, we can use our smartphones in Europe with national rates. In 2018, the Wi-Fi EU project was launched. This is an initiative to provide with a Wi-Fi service the municipal areas which do not have it yet. The allocated funds should cover the installation costs for at least 6,000 local communities. Apart from these specific rights, we should also analyze those established in Articles from 20 to 24 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union. Namely, Article 20 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union summarized the main elements of the European Union citizenship as follows. In particular, on the first part, we have to take into account the fact that this article explains the relationship between the European Union citizenship and our national citizenship. But let's read the article. According to Article 20, paragraph 1, citizenship of the Union is hereby established. Every person holding the nationality of a member state shall be a citizen of the Union. Citizenship of the Union shall be additional to and not replace national citizenship. Therefore, EU citizenship is something that we add to our citizenship, but also something that do not replace our national citizenship. We have to imagine it as a new layer of skin that we wear and that does not replace the original one. Yet, we have to say that while the notion of European Union citizenship does not displace the centrality of national citizenship in Europe, EU citizenship is contingent upon possession of the nationality of a member state. Above all, this means that the European Union does not directly regulate the conditions under which member states confer nationality, although it indirectly regulates aspects of this process by requiring them to recognize and not to deny the nationality granted by another member state. On the second part of Article 20, it explains the rights and the duties provided for in the treaties as follows. Citizens of the Union shall enjoy the rights and be subjected to the duties provided for in the treaties. They shall have, among them, the right to move and reside freely within the territory of the member states, the right to vote and to stand as candidates in elections to the European Parliament and in municipal elections in their member state of residence under the same conditions as nationals of that state. The right to enjoy in the territory of a third country in which the member state of which they are nationals is not represented, as I said, the right to enjoy the protection of the diplomatic and consular authorities of any member state on the same conditions as the nationals of that state. And finally, the right to petition to European Parliament, to apply to European Ombudsman, and to address the institutions and advisory bodies of the Union in any of the treaty languages and to obtain a reply in the same language. The provisions from Article 21 to 24 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union elaborate on the rights summarized in Article 20, second part, starting with the core rights of free movement and residence. In particular, Article 21 states that every citizen of the Union shall have the right to move and reside freely within the territory of the member states, subject to the limitations and conditions laid down in the treaties and by the measures adopted to give them effect. If action by the Union should prove necessary to attain this objective and the treaties have not provided the necessary powers, the European Parliament and the Council, acting in accordance with the ordinary legislative procedure, may adopt provisions with a view to facilitating the exercise of the rights referred to in paragraph 1. Articles from 22 to 24 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union also confer a number of rights which, although limited in their range, are of both practical and symbolic importance. In particular, Article 22 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union states that every citizen of the Union residing in a member state of which is not a national shall have the right to vote and to stand as candidate at municipal elections in the member state in which he resides, under the same conditions as nationals of that state. This right shall be exercised subject to detailed conditions adopted by the Council through a special legislative procedure. Every citizen of the Union residing in a member state of which he is not a national shall have the right to vote and to stand as a candidate in elections to the European Parliament in the member states in which he resides, under the same conditions as nationals of that state. This right shall be exercised subject to detailed conditions adopted by the Council through a special legislative procedure. What we have read above is probably the most important right offered to European Union citizens. Indeed, we are talking about the so-called alien suffrage, that is to say, the passive and active electoral rights of European Union citizens in all the European Union member states. Article 22 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union provides that citizens of the European Union shall have the right in a member state other than that of their nationality to vote and to stand as candidates both in municipal and in European Parliament elections under the same conditions as nationals. According to Article 23 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union, every citizen of the Union shall, in the territory of a third country in which the member state of which is a national is not represented, be entitled to protection by diplomatic or consular authorities of any member state on the same conditions as the nationals of that state. Member states shall adopt the necessary provisions and start the international negotiations required to secure this protection. This means that European citizens have the right in a third country where their own member state is not represented to the protection of the diplomatic authorities of any member state. This is to say that, for instance, if an Italian citizen is in a non-EU country where there are no Italian diplomatic offices, they can contact any European embassy or consulate present in that territory and ask them of help. According to Article 24 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union, every citizen of the Union shall have the right to petition the European Parliament. This means the right to ask questions concerning its status, but also its rights and its duties. Every citizen of the Union may write to any of institutions or bodies in one of the 24 languages of the Union and have an answer in the same language. According to these two sentences, Article 24 aims to provide for the implementation of the citizen's right to take initiative according to Article 11, paragraph 4 of the Treaty on European Union. And these two sentences, we can say that they are able to create a process whereby 1 million Union citizens may invite the Commission to bring forward certain legislative initiatives. Furthermore, Article 24 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union also confirms two previously existing rights under EU law, namely the rights of EU citizens to petition the European Parliament and to apply to the Ombudsman. Article 24 is very important because it also provides that European Union citizens who write to any of the EU institutions or bodies of the Union in one of the official languages, they have the right to an answer in that language. And this means, for sure, communications between the EU citizens and the EU institutions or bodies. The introduction of European Union citizenship has also been used by the EU institutions, especially by the European Court of Justice, to strengthen the rights of students under EU law by extending the circumstances under which EU nationals pursuing educational courses in states other than that of their nationality are entitled to claim certain social advantages, including educational advantages from either the host state or their home state. Just in order to give few examples, the first one concerns Gravier, a French girl who was studying in Belgium for a strip cartoon course. This student had been forced to pay a registration fee because she was not a Belgian citizen. Indeed, the same fee was not due by Belgian students. The European Court of Justice stated that Belgium was prohibited from discriminating against her because of her nationality in accessing vocational training. According to the European Court of Justice, in particular, the term vocational training included any form of education, including university education, that prepared for a profession trade, or employment, even if it included an element of general education. But in particular, the Court of Justice held that since access to any form of education was likely to promote the free movement of people, the conditions of access to it were regulated by the European Union and not by the Member States. Therefore, the registration fee for non-nationals was contrary to the requirement of non-discrimination on grounds of nationality. The second example that we have to take into account is what happened to another student whose name was Rollin. This person had sent a request in order to be able to have an accommodation during its studies abroad. That is something very important because, in my view, it's something that could happen to all of you EU students and EU citizens for sure. So, what did the court reply? The court said that students who enjoy the right of access to education in a member state should also enjoy the right of residence for the duration of their studies. But member states may take this right subject to the condition that students have sufficient resources not to become a burden on the state social assistance system and that these students have comprehensive medical insurance. It is clear that in addition to rights, there are also duties that derives from the status of European Union citizen. Duties express, perhaps more than rights, the political bond between citizens and, let's say, foster the sense of belonging to the society. The list of European Union citizens' duties is shorter than the rights, and it is based on shared principles and values. For example, the Italian constitutional text expressly and exclusively defines duties as defense of the homeland, whose fulfillment is not limited to military means, but includes the contribution to public expenses, the loyalty to the Republic, and for the public functionaries, the duty to fulfill their assignments with discipline and honor. Furthermore, the Italian Constitution includes some situations both as rights and duties. This is the case for work, education of children, education more in general, health, social security, active electorate. And the same thing applies to European context. In fact, having rights thanks to the belonging to a community, it also includes having duties towards it. Without the fulfillment of duties, there is the disintegration of society. Solidarity is a duty that is part of the responsibility towards the community of belonging. In fact, both the Italian Constitution and European Union treaties place solidarity as a set of duties with reference to politics, the economy, and social relations. Thank you very much for your kind attention.